This is the chapter on Step 1, Admitting Disloyalty, Giving Up the Lie. You've probably asked yourself what the meaning of life is. You probably don't have a good answer. You may be often unhappy and think sometimes that a life like yours isn't worth living. Or maybe you figure life is all about having fun. If so, you are in disloyalty. You are trapped in a prison constructed of your own beliefs, a prison that you don't understand. Hopefully, you want to escape from it. What is a prison of beliefs? Let's look at the quote that began this chapter. The quote is, "In hell, they say heaven is a great lie." What does that mean? One way of explaining it is simple. Unhappy people believe that they must stay that way. Another way of understanding it's also simple. Miserable people believe that happy people are faking. Everyone is miserable, and we're all the same, they say. When people tell you that you can't ever be successful or happy in the world, they are saying the same thing, and it's a great lie. Still another way of saying it is, misery loves company. Some people believe that everyone lies and steals. So they reason, I won't be any different if I lie and steal. People often abuse and hurt others because they say that they've been hurt. I got hurt, they say, so I can hurt others. We describe people like this as being in disloyalty. People in disloyalty do a lot of negative things and experience a lot of negative emotions. They hate, dislike many others, feel jealousy, feel resentment, are depressed, and blame others for it. They cheat, steal, lie, hurt others, betray, and take revenge. They always have just reasons for their behavior. They have their explanations, but they're loyal to nothing. They even betray their own family. Think about that for a minute. Has your family been upset by your behavior? If so, you have hurt them. Is there someone you love? Are they totally happy and satisfied with you? Or are they upset? Have you betrayed the trust of your mother? Some people in disloyalty argue that they are loyal to their gang. But gangs are artificial. They are groups created by imaginary boundaries and devoted to taking advantage of others. Gangs create victims both in and out of the gang. The truth is that gang members are told that the only way they can be happy is to remain in the gang. Where does that eventually lead? You know the answer to that question. How many old gang members do you know? Death, prison, or wheelchairs are the destinations of gang members, and they create victims of everyone they encounter because gangs are victimizers. If someone tells you that there isn't any happiness outside of a gang, it is a great lie. But if you believe it, you're trapped in the gang by your beliefs, and there can be no happiness in a gang. If you believe you can't go to college, that belief keeps you from going to college. If you believe that everyone lies and cheats, it keeps you lying and cheating. If you believe that real happiness isn't possible, it will keep you from it. Beliefs create real prisons. Most of the people in disloyalty are not interested in how to change. They're expending too much energy denying that they are in the state of disloyalty. Or they try to prove that everyone else is the same way. Besides, if they admit that they're interested in the steps for escape, then they have to admit that they might be the source of their problems. So they pretend a lot. A person can't constantly pretend that he or she is happy. That doesn't work too well. So they pretend that everyone else is unhappy too. And people in the stage of disloyalty will make sure that others are miserable. Misery loves company. Often, people in disloyalty are simply depressed. They despise their life and most other people because they make their decisions on the amount of pleasure and pain in a given situation. They hurt a lot of people, themselves included. You see, the problem with basing our decisions on pleasure and pain is that it eventually brings pain into life. Not just pain for the person, but pain for all the others that person touches. People in disloyalty pretend that everyone else cheats, steals, lies, betrays, is hateful, is jealous, and so on. People in disloyalty pretend that they are a victim, but they're really victimizers. They victimize others by stealing, killing, fighting, cheating, and lying. It certainly isn't a pretty picture. How long can you deny and fight the facts about your life? Only a fool refuses to be taught. Only a fool thinks he needs no advice. An intelligent person keeps himself open to new ideas. In fact, he's always on the lookout for them. Can you see now that our enemy is ourselves, our beliefs? Can't you see that it's this part of you that's your real enemy? Can you see that it is their own personality, the beliefs, that traps the person who lives their life in the miserable state of disloyalty? A bit of disloyalty. We all may have a bit of disloyalty in us. Of course, some people have a lot of it. The most extreme examples of disloyalty often kill others. When they get caught, society can be harsh on them. Many of these people place no value on others' lives because they place no value on their own. Those who believe that everyone is no good usually treat everyone, including themselves, as if it were true. To escape your prison of disloyalty, to whatever extent you have it, takes courage. Do you have courage? You're going to escape the prison of false beliefs that you're trapped in. When you get out, you will be presented with a ladder that leads to freedom. If you don't climb that freedom ladder step by step, you'll fall back into a prison. Thus, the MRT steps are rungs of a ladder. At the top of the ladder lies freedom. There you can find out who and what you really are. And what you are is far more than you believe. You're not going to escape the prison immediately, but it's going to happen soon. Prepare yourself. You will need courage to start your journey to happiness. Step 1. To begin the escape from the difficulties and problems in your life, and to take control of your life, you must admit that you are the source of the problems in your life. You must admit to some disloyalty in your life. The essence of step 1 is, if you can't do it, it simply means that you're not willing to change. It also means that you're dishonest and can't be trusted. And it means you want to stay that way. For the only escape from disloyalty is to quit pretending and be for real. Step 1 is actually all about honesty. The first thing you need to do for step 1 is to complete the exercise Pyramid of Life, which you find on page 18 in your book. Take your time completing it. Think deeply about how things could have turned out differently and better in your life. Try to come to an understanding about how you could have changed things. Try to understand how your choices led you to this point in life. And try to grasp the fact that it was your choices that led you to this point. If you think about it, your present life is like the point at the top of a pyramid. You are here because of decisions from your past. If you can understand this, then you might begin to know why things have worked out the way they have. At the same time, you will hopefully understand how you can begin to change and control the direction that you're now taking in life. Completion of step 1 is done by doing 2 things in your group. First, you will share your responses to the pyramid exercise with other group members. So be sure to fill out the pyramid before you go to group. Simply hold up your drawings so that others can see them and tell them what you drew. They may ask questions only if they don't understand something or if you haven't appeared to follow the instructions. If your group facilitator decides you satisfactorily presented your exercise to the group, then you must immediately stand up and finish step 1 by doing the testimony. The step 1 testimony. Immediately after your facilitator tells you you've passed the pyramid, you'll attempt the testimony. Step 1 is completed during a brief 5 to 15 minute verbal testimony to your group. The group may not ask specific questions about crime, guilt, money, substance abuse, or other people unless you bring these things up. No more than 15 minutes may be taken up by a testimony and questioning. In the testimony, you must stand in front of your group and make honest, sincere statements about all of the following. A. What you did that got you here. You cannot mention what others did to you or how you were a victim. Just say how you got here. B. Admit that you have been disloyal to some extent in your life. Don't talk about others here at all. Just talk about yourself. Just begin by admitting that you have been dishonest some in your life. If you have problems with this, ask yourself the following. Have you ever told something to someone that wasn't true? Have you ever made a promise to someone, including yourself, that you didn't keep? Have you ever made an agreement you didn't keep? Have you ever pretended to be something you weren't? Have you ever taken something that wasn't yours? If you can say yes to any of those questions, then you can easily admit that you've been dishonest. Other things you should mention are the effects of your behavior on family, friends, and other relationships. You must admit that you have been disloyal. Give your peers a completely honest assessment of yourself and your problem. Do not make any excuses for your past behaviors. Just admit to them. C. You must openly commit to practicing honesty in this group. This means you will correct lies and admit it when you have been dishonest. If you think about it, when a person says that they lie, they are telling the truth. Admitting you have been living your life in disloyalty is a start, but you also need to tell your group that you will practice honesty, and practicing honesty means correcting lies and admitting it when you've been dishonest. D. You must make some commitment to positive change in your life. This is up to you, but for some, all they will be able to say is that they will do the program as it's required, and that it alone represents a positive change in itself. You could also say how you intend to change the way you will live your life with your family, how well you do in school, or how you will change specific problem behaviors. Don't lie about this, just tell the group something you will change for the better. After you complete the testimony to your group, the group may briefly ask you questions to determine 1, if you have been honest, and 2, if you met all the criteria A through D that I just mentioned. That is, you must make no excuses, admit some disloyalty, commit to practicing honesty, and are willing to make a commitment to some change. Following this probing and questioning, you will leave the room. Your group facilitator will then hold a brief discussion with group members about whether you met all of the criteria to pass the testimony. Then a vote will be held. Only those who have passed step 1 will be allowed to vote. A 2/3 majority is required to pass the testimony and step 1. If the testimony fails, you must try it again in your next group meeting. If you again fail, or if you don't try it in the next group, you have one more try. If that third testimony try fails, you will meet with the program staff. They can then remove you from the program or allow you to continue. Also note, the group facilitator may overrule any group member votes, but this will rarely, if ever, occur. This is the pyramid on page 18. Instructions. Before you draw anything in the spaces below, you need to understand that you have to show your drawing to your group and explain it a bit. Thus, don't draw anything that you don't want anyone else to know. Don't draw your deepest, darkest secrets. Number 1. In the pyramid space below, begin by drawing a picture of yourself sitting in your group. Don't worry about your drawing ability. Draw stick people if you want. The top of the pyramid, labeled the present, is where this drawing should be made. Number 2. On the left side of the pyramid, labeled real life behaviors, draw something that you did in the past year that directly led you into this group. And that is directly below the top of the pyramid where it says the present in the 1 year ago space. Number 3. Below that drawing, make another drawing of something that you did about 5 years ago that played a part in leading you here. 4. Now complete the real life side of the pyramid, that is the left side, by drawing something that you did about 10 years ago that played a part in leading you here. 5. Now move to the what could have been side of the pyramid on the right. In the 1 year ago space, draw a picture of something you could have done to improve what you actually did that you drew on the other side. You must choose an appropriate behavior that you could have done so that the 1 year ago event could have been made better. 6. Now do the same thing in the 5 and 10 year spaces. In group, you're required to show your drawings and briefly describe each space. When you've done this and follow the rules of the exercise, you will have completed this exercise. Then you should do the testimony.